Today, we have a fabulous guest and friend, Rachel Gossett. Rachel Gossett is a Reiki Master, trauma-informed breathwork facilitator, mindfulness practitioner, and licensed speech-language pathologist. As a dedicated hospice volunteer, Rachel offers Reiki and breathwork to patients and caregivers, providing compassionate support during life's most tender moments. A proud mom of 4, Rachel credits her children as her greatest inspiration in her journey to heal from 33 years of eating disorders and body dysmorphia. Through deep self-work, Rachel has liberated her mind, reclaimed her light, and discovered her true purpose, helping others realize their healing potential. With a heart full of empathy and a mission to guide others toward empowerment, she specializes in supporting individuals to reclaim their authentic selves and live with freedom, peace, and joy. Healing is possible. Never doubt your potential. You too can reclaim your light. Thank you so much for being here, Rachel.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for having me, Tracy. And I am so excited to be here.
I am so pleased to have you. To give the listeners and viewers a little bit of insight, Rachel and I just went on a mini adventure where I had a bird flying in my recording space. We just got on the call and there was a bird.
Yes.
But I'm a big fan of spirit animals, and when I looked it up, it said perseverance, grounding, and I feel this conversation, it will be very grounding and very healing with some practical tools as well as some spiritual resonance to help those who are struggling with some of the things that you have overcome, including disordered eating. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and your experience with reclaiming your light, reclaiming your sense of self when you were struggling with that issue?
Yeah, sure. So it all started when I was about 11 years old. And I remember being in 7th grade, and on my desk, the words were written, "You are so fat, you are so ugly, you are so hairy, no one will ever love you, you'll never have a boyfriend." And I was always aware that my body shape was a little bit different, coming from Latina background. I didn't look like the other girls, but I wanted to, I desired it because they made fun of me. So that was really the catalyst for me to go on that exploration of not eating, of restricting. And then I lost some weight. I got noticed. People praised me for being skinnier. And just throughout my years, that snowballed into the anorexia, snowballed into the bulimia, the binge eating, the body dysmorphia. And I've done all of the other traditional work, the psychiatry, the psychotherapy, the medication, the affirmations, all of the tools. And they did help to a point. But I found myself that I kept going in a circle. I kept relapsing. And I didn't want that anymore. I was at a pretty low point last year, and I was like, I need to get it together. I need to get it together for my kids. I need to heal for my kids. I need to stop this generational trauma because my mom also experienced it.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize that.
Yes, and some other people in my family as well. And I didn't want my 4 children to have this distorted image of themselves and to not love food, not to be able to look at food as nourishment for your body and your soul. So I found breathwork. I joined the Breath of Gold Facilitator program. And I wanted to go on this mission of not only healing myself from this, because I believed that I could heal from this through breathwork, but then also to take it a step further and to help others.
I love that you've always used it. Just, you can tell from your bio alone, you always use your healing to serve others. And I think that is so beautiful. But first you had to choose yourself rather than the external opinions of others. What helped you create that shift where you were able to prioritize what you thought of yourself above what others were saying about you?
It really goes back to my children. So even if you want to go back to 2015, I had really bad anxiety. I developed in panic attacks. And I had my son at that time. He was about 3 years old. And I knew that I couldn't function as a mom if I didn't get that in order. And that's how I found Reiki. So I was having an anxiety attack, a panic attack at work, and my supervisor gave me Reiki. And then that went on, snowballed into healing modalities, and for me to become a Reiki master. It goes back to my children.
It's so interesting. I find that my children have given me a sense of purpose as well, and helped me hone in on what I really want to embody in the world rather than just trying to receive praise and validation from other people. And it's interesting how you mentioned the thinner you got, the more praise that you received.
Yes.
When I was going through having a hyperactive thyroid that was misdiagnosed, I was losing weight rapidly, and that is all I heard, especially being in the entertainment industry, was, "Oh, wow, you look great. What are you doing?" I'm
Yes.
like, "Oh, I'm dying. Like, I'm dying. It's not that great." But it's so strange how our world has fixated on some of these things. What can you say to somebody? Because I too have felt that urge to want to look more like Eurocentric beauty standards because of the society that we live in. And what would you say to somebody who is struggling to feel beautiful if they're not meeting, I put that in quotations, those Eurocentric ideals for beauty?
Yeah, sure. So it just really goes back to the eye of the beholder, right? So what you may think is beautiful is not what the other person is going to think is beauty. Society, yes, it definitely has been toxic when I was growing up. It was a lot of body shaming in the 90s and 2000s. And what I love to see now in society is the acceptance of our body shapes a little bit more, right? And to know that you don't have to look a certain way to be loved. You don't have to look a certain way to be accepted. Go back to your children. Your children love you wholly and fully, all of your quirks. When you wake up in the morning with crazy bed hat, they're like, "Mom, go fix your hair." No, they're like, "Mommy, I'm so happy to see you. I love you. Let's do this," right? I think once you are able to extricate that energy, like I did with breathwork, to remove those limiting beliefs and to remove that trauma, your mind is going to start to shift, because it did for me. When I healed through breathwork, my mind definitely shifted.
And I've experienced major shifts mentally with breathwork as well. Since you went through a facilitation program, can you give us a little bit more insight about the neuroscience that's occurring whenever we do breathwork?
Yeah, sure. So your body is changing its chemistry. You normally breathe in and out through your nose, and you want to make sure you have your deep belly breathing. That is going to trigger to your nervous system that you are safe, right? That parasympathetic nervous system. When things are crazy and chaotic, we're in that fight, flight, freeze, right? Go, go, go. And so with breath work, you are literally changing the chemistry in your body. You are letting your body know, your brain, your nervous system, that you are safe. And when you do the active circular connected breath work that I participated in and that I also facilitate, you can really shut off your conscious mind and access your subconscious, where all of that trauma or the energy or those experiences that are holding you back, that you really don't think about with your conscious mind, or that you may not even be aware of. So that's the beauty of breath work, to access your subconscious mind, to really get to the root of the problem, to understand why. And then you have the power to get it out, to remove it. And then your whole energy shifts.
And then I would love to hear from you, but for me, in my experience, opportunities start to come to you. Like it leads to major advancements, not just in your personal life, but also in your professional life. Can you talk to me a little bit about how breath work, we know it's transformed the way that you look at yourself, the way that your relationship with food. How has it transformed your professional life, your business?
So my energy has shifted into believing in myself and knowing that I am worthy to receive. And once the energy has shifted, I've noticed abundance come into my life in so many different ways. Abundance of time, like little pockets of time, right? As a busy mama working full time, if you got an extra 10 minutes, that is you're praising.
Yeah, it's magical. It's magical.
It is. So abundance of time, abundance of the opportunity. So for instance, where I met you in Reno, having the opportunity to speak in front of a live audience. How fantastic was that? That was abundance in itself.
Oh, truly. And the amount of people who were personally touched by your story and who were still in the throes of their journey with their, disordered eating, and hearing that there is hope, that like, yes, I can love myself and I can accept that that's what I'm going through, but I also can see that there's light on the other side. To me, that is so powerful, that you're giving people that level of hope that they can achieve the same thing of really truly loving themselves and their body and food in a healthy way.
Yes, it is so exciting, and that's abundance in itself. To share my story here with you, to share my story at that live event, to share my story on social, and then in this upcoming book that we have that we co-authored together. That's abundance. And knowing that I am touching people's lives by my words is abundance. So definitely a lot of growth in all areas, and abundance in my relationships, not only with myself, but with my spouse, with my children, with my friends and family, because I'm more present. I'm more in the moment, and my mind isn't ruminating on food or how I look.
And this kind of leads me to your big three. I believe you're a Scorpio sun. Can you remind me of your moon and rising?
Yes. So my moon is Leo. And my rising is Scorpio. So Scorpio, Leo, Scorpio.
Well, what's interesting is we've had a lot of Leo moons on the show. Like I'm a Leo moon as well, Taurus rising, Libra sun. But you're Scorpio. It's so interesting. It makes sense now that it's both your sun and your rising, because you're going so deep. You're going so deep with the healing and the work. And I feel like Scorpio always understands that excavation is necessary. We have to unroot those unconscious beliefs before we are able to change them and choose a new pattern. Because otherwise, like you said, they're kind of running the show just automatically. And how can somebody, if they're not, they're not sure if they're being led by their unconscious into unhelpful patterns, how can they start to recognize when their brain is just doing the default rather than living in alignment with their purpose?
Well, definitely if you see that you're repeating those patterns, right? You have that desire to change, and you can go through the motions and the tools, but if you just keep going back in a circle, keep going back to square one, then you know that you haven't moved forward. You haven't really healed on a subconscious level.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like you said, something else that really popped out to me was that some of these tools worked up to a point. And I think a lot of our listeners, they have had the same experience. They go to therapy and then they almost like start to get an A+ in therapy. Like, yes, I know I have this childhood trauma and it's led to this behavior and I'm working on it. And it's like, you almost want to get the gold star and the applause from your therapist rather than figuring out a way to truly change the pattern. But It sounds like to me, Reiki sort of opened you up to finding breath work, which actually helps you change on a neurological level the patterns and your behaviors.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's really powerful. And then the other thing I love about what I see in Leo Moon so often is that a lot of our purpose is to help other people shine. And I see that through your work so evidently. But I am curious for you, what has been your version of soul centered success? How would you define it for yourself?
Soul-centered success. So the vision that comes to me is just standing in my power, standing in my belief, and knowing that I am worthy of success. I am worthy of sharing. I am I am just worthy. And all of that glory that comes with it, because it once again, it really goes back to the energetics of it. Once you have that belief system within yourself that you are worth it, that your voice matters, then that's where the success is going to come afterwards. And if you don't have those belief systems, if if you doubt yourself or unsure of yourself, then you're going to have those energetic blocks, right? You may see a little bit of success here, you may see a little bit of success there, but I'm being shown a wave of success. You're blocking it almost like a dam, right?
Yeah.
From everything filling into your space. So it really comes down to you and the intention and wanting to work to get to that place of your authentic self, your true self, and not caring what anyone is going to say or think of you. You're always going to find your people. Your people
Yes.
will find you. And if someone doesn't resonate with you, then they don't need to be in your energetic space because they're just going to bring you down.
I love that. I want to dive in more about that topic after a quick break from our sponsors. Rachel, before the break happened, I love what you were saying about alignment and finding those aligned groups, that community. And I think it's a major support for when we are making a new change in our behavior and our ways of thinking to have support in that area. What would you recommend to somebody who's maybe feeling a little bit lost when it comes to finding a community that really resonates with them and aligns with their beliefs?
So I think, well, one, tune in and ask yourself really, what are you looking for? What are your desires? And ask the universe, say, I am ready to be in alignment with those who resonate with me. I am ready to co-create partnerships and community with those who resonate with me. And begin to explore. Begin to ask friends, begin to go like within your town, do a Google search and just get out there. The hardest part really is getting out there and networking and showing up, because I
I
know that
agree.
that's a scary thing.
Yes, I think we fear rejection or abandonment, and that's something that I notice in community. A lot of us can hide in the spiritual closet.
Yes.
We don't want people to know how woo we are. We're scared to say anything, but I've
Yes.
noticed the more that we speak about these things, the more that we find people resonate with it. Even in a store, sometimes I had a waiter one time who was just like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a spiritual sales coach. I just help people get in touch with their intuition to make more money." And I was like, "I know that's a little woo." And he was like, excuse you. Like, I love this. When we give ourselves that permission to just speak, I think that's when we start to see the changes. But if we keep holding it in, keep dimming our light, we're going to keep finding people who would reject us if we are open. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, most definitely. And talking about being in that spiritual closet, before when I would search for podcasts and binge listen. And a lot of those podcasts have their own communities. So you could try them out for free. You could see how their social media resonates with you, their website, and see their offerings. And then you can start building friendships in that way as well.
I love that. The other thing I wanted to say is I know for some people, like especially people who've been struggling for a long time, this might feel so big to them, like so out of reach. But you were there and you made it through. And I kind of want to just remind our listeners, like we are all one. If one person can have this journey and this transformation, you can too. And I love that you always broadcast that in your messaging, that it's not that you're a special snowflake. Although you are super special and like you are a queen to me, but everyone has access to this. It's just knowing the right people to go to receive the support that you need. And Rachel is one of those people. I mean, so Rachel and I met prior to the Breath of Gold live event in Reno on November 3rd. We had a mini retreat with the speakers and authors, and immediately she enveloped me in this nurturing, loving energy that is just so welcoming and felt so grounded, as though we had known each other for years, and such interesting soul-stirring conversations where you just can't even imagine. I mean, we were showing up in each other's breathwork visions. It was on the first day.
Yes.
And that is the power of alignment. It's not so linear as like, oh, we all do the same things. It's also a spiritual connection and allowing your body to recognize when it does feel that resonance with another. And I do think sometimes in the spiritual community as empaths, we can get a little lost in, especially if we haven't done a lot of the work, if we're new to it, trauma bonding, which is very different than like a genuine spiritual connection. So a trauma bond, could you explain a little bit about like what a trauma bond would feel or look like in the body or in the mind?
So think of it like a magnet, right? And you're just going to keep attracting that trauma to other people. And then you both are going to be in that misery, and you're both going to energetically just keep going through your own relapses and recurrences with those situations because you're feeding off of each other.
Yeah. And that attachment isn't based in love, you guys. Like that attachment is based in fear, and it is based in this desire to maintain the status quo so that you don't upset your brain by doing something new or different that will actually feel better in the body. Whereas when you're just really connecting with someone who's in alignment, it's calm. It can be exciting, sure, but there is a groundedness to it, which I think is why the bird came in. It was a brown thrasher. And if you guys look it up, it symbolizes perseverance and grounding. And so I think that's also a message for those of you that are listening and viewing today. If you are continually taking those small steps to speak up for yourself, to tend to your body, you're going to find your tribe. You're going to find magical people who just brighten up your life and opportunities that you could never have anticipated. I'd never thought at the beginning of this year that I'd be co-authoring a book with you, or that I'd meet such magical people.
Same here. And after meeting you and going on that retreat, I never realized how much community means to me, on a really deep soul level, especially when you connect with your tribe, with your people.
Ooh, I have a quick question, because I know you are a mama for this woman. Rachel is a beast because she's got 2 children, first 2, and then twins. No, I'm wrong. 1 son, then twins, and then a 4th child.
Yes.
And usually people tap out after twins, but Rachel was like, no, I got it.
Yes.
But I know it was your first time leaving your family.
It was.
And I remember when I first met Adrienne for a retreat in Sedona, Adrienne Rivera, the founder of Breath of Gold, who is also sort of holding space for the book that we wrote. It was very scary to me to leave my kids. So How did you overcome that fear? Because I felt it of separation anxiety, intrusive thoughts of like, oh my gosh, of course they're going to die because I wasn't there. So, like, I know yours weren't as intense, but, how did you take that time to yourself? How did you find the strength to do that?
I would say it was challenging the first day traveling and saying goodbye to them. But knowing that the work that I'm doing and the outcome is not only going to help me, it's going to help my children, my family as a whole. So I was trying to focus on looking at the bigger picture of things, why mama was leaving for a few days. And my children, they love Reiki. I give them Reiki. They're attuned to level 1 Reiki, so they give each other Reiki. They talk about their third eye and seeing things, and they're very highly sensitive. So teaching them about being empaths. So they know the work that I'm doing and they appreciate it, even if, my little ones are young, but they still appreciate it. So knowing all of that made it easier. And I know I was only a video call away from them, right? We have technology so it could make that separation a little bit easier, to FaceTime with them, to talk to them, to send them pictures. But they're my inspiration, as I've mentioned, and I want them to look at me like, wow, mama is friggin' amazing. Mama did all of this healing work so we can continue to thrive and shine.
And I know they do. I know they do. I mean, just being around you, your light is, it's blinding in the best way. Like, it's just so bright and beautiful. And I love what you said about like opening up to your children about that. Our family is very into energetics and talking about we do crystals, yes. We do moon ceremonies, we love, but I'd never thought about attuning my kids to Reiki level 1. That's brilliant. What inspired you to do that?
So they ask me often to give them Reiki, and earlier this year, Elaine, one of my twins, she was really sick with pneumonia and 2 other types of viruses, and she was in the hospital. When she came home, my daughters, were giving her Reiki. And then even before that, they would always put their hands, because they see me do it. Monkey see, monkey do. So they put their hands on. So that really triggered me to be like, you know what? Let's do this together. Right? Let me teach you about the energy and just open up the channel so you can receive it a little bit more. Because they were independently wanting to lay their hands on me and on anybody in our family if they weren't feeling good or just needed a little boost.
That is so sweet. I love that. So you really just were observant. You spotted the need, the desire, and you went for it.
Yes.
And it's so beautiful. And now you have little Reiki practitioners.
Yes.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would want to share with the listeners as like a major takeaway? If they could only hear one section of this podcast for whatever reason, what would you want them to know?
Healing is possible. The body is so resilient. You are resilient. And really never doubt your potential. I'm proof that you don't have to live with the eating disorders and body dysmorphia until you die. You can heal from it, like actually heal from it, because your body is incredible.
So is your brain. You can program it. You can tell it how to think, how to feel, what chemicals to produce. It's all possible with the proper support. And so I know that there are going to be people listening and watching that want to connect with you more deeply and find out how they can be supported by you. What's the best way for them to reach you?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram, Reiki by Ray, RAE. And that's my website, the same, reikibyray.com. That's where I am. I would love to connect with you. I would love to help you to really achieve that body freedom, that liberation, and for you to be more present in your everyday life and to have such a loving relationship with yourself and food.
Yeah, and free up some of that mental space too. It's exhausting,
It
not
is.
only physically to live it, but also mentally. You don't have any space to be, like you said, in the present moment. And
Mm-hmm.
this would just allow them so much more connection at a greater depth that I'm sure that they're desiring.
Yes.
And is there anything else coming up for you that we need to look out for?
Ooh, so I've been working on creating a quiz to really hone in on the energetics of your body and any patterns that may be existing. And then also my body freedom coaching, just really tailoring it to my clients to help them excavate what no longer serves them.
Rachel also has this amazing capability of mediumship. You can feel it when you work with her that it's not just you as an individual. She's working with your ancestral line.
Yes.
And she gave me some beautiful messages while we were on the retreat from my grandmother that honestly still make me want to cry. So I'm so
Thank
grateful
you.
to you and just want to share with everyone who's looking forward to hear more from you and connecting more with you that there's so many ways that healing is possible. It's not just one size fits
No.
all. And with Rachel, she has a large toolbox that she can customize for your needs so that you can get the healing and the support that you deserve because you are worthy of healing right now.
Yes, you are. You are. You are.
And thank you so much, Rachel. Oh, last thing, I do want to plug our upcoming book.
Yes.
So we have the Breath of Gold book coming out in December 30th on the Capricorn new moon. Should be very auspicious. And we're having a launch party. The book will be available on Amazon for 99 cents on Kindle. And we would love if you would join us there to celebrate this manifestation that we've all co-created. It's so amazing. I'm really proud of all of us.
It is. I am proud of all of us too. And it's only the beginning, Tracey-Ann. It's only the beginning.
Oh my gosh. I agree. I believe that. I just continue to welcome all the blessings that I know we're going to experience. And I'm so grateful to have you in my community and in my circle. So thank you so much for being here, Rachel.
Thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you.
All right. Bye, you guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.